Okay. Okay, let's try this again. My apologies for that. It just, everything that could go wrong could go wrong. I had a call come in. I was trying something new with how to stream. Anyway, we're here. So happy Friday. I am going to talk about a couple things today. The first one is going to be the last book event that I participated in, which was the Royal Book Bash, and sort of what the outcome was with that. And then I'm also going to talk about my latest launch of my newest book, The Trouble with Soulmates, how it went, and what my next steps are going to be. So first, the book event, the Royal Book Bash. It was a really great event in the sense that it was very well organized. It was, the people were amazing. I met some fantastic authors that I connected with. The only thing is I didn't sell as many books as I had hoped, but there were other things that I got out of the event that will generate some income. And I also saw sales after the event from the bookmarks that I handed out that had the QR code for my new book, as well as a bunch of QR KU reads. My KU reads increased after the event as well too. So although at the day of the event I didn't get as many sales as I'd hoped, there were residual results which I'm happy with. The other thing that happened is I got requested to be a guest for someone's book club, which also will generate sales from physical books, which I'm excited about. And also, the person that I was sitting next to invited me to be a guest on her newsletter to promote my new book. So that was exciting as well too. So it's also an opportunity to reach some new readers, which I'm excited about as well too. So overall, I would say when it comes to book events, it's always good to sort of participate, if nothing else, than to kind of get an idea of whether it's a good fit for you, a good fit for whether your audience is there, and also what were the benefits, if there were any, after the event happened, or you made connections. I think it's really important to, if you notice that the sales aren't what you were hoping, is to find different ways that you can create what I like to call residual income. And some ways to do that is just really connect with authors, maybe offer them to be on your newsletter, so that you're also building that relationship, not just now in this moment, but also long term, which can be beneficial to you both. And supporting authors, I love doing that. And it's also, like I said, a great way to reach new readers and connect with some amazing authors. It's just such a welcoming community. And, it's important to take advantage of that, not advantage, to make use of it. So, on to my book launch. I did a live about this on Instagram, and to be honest, it was one of the worst book launch I have ever had. And I talked about some of the reasons, which is because it's a book that I'm writing outside of my usual genre. And I'm still sort of working to figure out what went wrong, other than those things, or the fact that I'm outside of my genre. And also, what are some things that I can focus on now? Because the truth is, it's always disheartening when your audience don't love your book as much as you do. And it's also not a guarantee that your usual readers will follow you into different genres. Now, so that was disappointing in that respect. But some of the things that I did do this time around, which I think helped in a different way, it didn't create sales, but it was something that was sort of helping me build some of the foundation. And some of those were, I've always had like one or two beta readers, and I was trying to increase it this time around. And I didn't get the impact or the results I wanted as far as adding more beta readers to my list, but I was happy with the two that I have that gave me incredible feedback. One of them who was or is a reader of my books and she reached out and signed up to be a beta reader. So that was fantastic because she's already familiar with me and my writing style, even though I'm going in a different genre. And the other one was already a reader and became a beta reader for my last book as well too. So the feedback from them was fantastic and helped me make the book better. So I was able to do that, but what I was able to do is to set up the structure for getting beta readers, so that the next time I'm not just doing random emails. I actually set up a Google form and also a system for whenever I have a launch coming up where I need beta readers, that I can promote to encourage beta readers to sign up through my email, on my social media. So that part of it I'm happy about, even though I only got 2 beta readers out of it, but that structure is there, so it's something that I can implement again and again. And the next thing I did this time around was a street team. And it's something I've always wanted to do, but I just wasn't sure based on how I saw other street teams being run and that I've been a part of. I wasn't sure if I was quite ready for all of it that was involved. And it sort of fell into my lap. I'm part of a writing group in my community, and one of the authors there, she had a street team for one of her launches a few years ago, and she said it was phenomenal. It helped her reach #1, and she actually did a presentation in the group, showing sort of the steps before, during, and after that she did in order to do that. And it was various things that she did, but one of those things was really a street team and how she utilized it. So I decided to take a risk. The group, because I was the next author with a book coming out, the authors in the group volunteered, not all of them, but a good amount, volunteered to help to be a part of my street team and help get the word out about my launch. And that was phenomenal. And I actually took advantage of that opportunity to set up a Facebook group with my street team and sort of lay the foundation so that even if some of those authors don't stay in that group going forward, because this was an experiment for not just me, but other writers in the group and something that we can do long term, I it was an opportunity for me to, like I said, I invited some of my ARC readers in there, as well as the other authors from the group who had volunteered. So that was great because I created the structure of not only how to, I created the Facebook group and a structure of how to run it going forward. So that part of it, I just sort of took advantage of while it was there, and also in a way used it to experiment. Brilliant idea. I always Yeah, it's thanks, Lorraine. Street teams are one of those things where I've always wanted to have one as well too, and I just didn't think I was at the point where I was ready for it. But at the same time, you have to start somewhere. So I'm really glad that I've done it as well too. Thank you, Lorraine, for joining the street team. I appreciate that. And that brings me to one of the other things that I did, which was ARC readers. And that is another system that I set up similar to what I did with my beta readers, in the sense that I created a Google form for people to sign up, and I studied quite a few authors and what the questions that they ask, so that I not only protect my work, but then I also get people who are really, interested in reading what I write, and they're just not there for the free stuff or the free books, whatever it is. Because I really want to create a community of, readers who are going to be with me, probably not in the long term, but who are there and that are interested in reading my books and my genre. So that was something that came out of this launch as well too, which I'm really excited about, because and I was able to get just 4, but at the same time, that's 4 more than I had last time. So I'm really excited about that. And they all agreed to do reviews, and one review is already up. And thankfully, the ARC reader, she's read some of my other books as well too, and she absolutely loved the book and gave it a great review. So that was exciting, because reviews really help with the book. I didn't see your other comment, Lorraine. I'm sorry. I am blind as a bat, even with my glasses on. But I will go back and read through them because they pop up really quickly and then they disappear. So there's no way for me to go back and see them. So I will make sure to check that after. So, just to recap, some of the things that I did with this launch is that I, set up a structure for beta readers. I created a structure for ARC readers and also for a street team, which was amazing, and I'm really happy about that. Now, with regards to the street team, I didn't really set up a form to specifically for the street team because I know some authors will have those separate. They'll have ARC readers separate from the street team because in some ways they have separate different roles. So I kept those two separate, but what I did do is on the ARC reader form, I put a question to say, would you be interested in joining my street team? And then I also pitched that as part of my emails for my launch emails. I added that as something on the bottom. If you're interested in being an ARC reader or beta reader or part of the street team, I put the option for them to do that so that it's something that is becoming part of my launch and my readers are used to seeing that come through on the emails. And hopefully, as I start to build relationship with those people on my list, they don't just become readers, that they become part of, my community, which is really what I want. So that was really the best thing about this launch, is being able to create those things and put those in place so that I have that structure and that foundation going forward. Now, with regards to the launch, so I did all of those things leading up to the launch. Now, there were other things that I usually have that I do as a part of my launch that I didn't do this time around, just because I was so overwhelmed with all the other things. Plus, I was formatting my own book this time around and just other things that I don't normally do. I usually pay for. And then I also added a few more layers as far as marketing materials, ads, things like that. So I had a lot more moving parts that I was handling. So I didn't get to do some of the other things that I normally do, which is, guest posting, or sorry, guest on podcasts. I was a guest on one, but I try to do more of those as well as on blogs and things like that. So I just got on one each of those. But it's all one of those things that's a learning exercise for me, because I actually created this time around, I created a really structured, what I call, and I'm going to have to look at it because I just created this, because I usually have forms and spreadsheets and kind of it's all over the place, usually when I'm launching and I'm trying to sort of consolidate a little bit. But I created a book launch guidebook for myself, which basically takes me through all the things that I want, that are information about the book, what I want to do to try to help to promote it, and some of the steps I need to take to do that. Because let's face it, when you're launching a book, it can be very overwhelming. So I really wanted to have that structure and that form to kind of help me remember, oh, these are the things that I said that I wanted to do before, during, and after the launch. Oh, you're so organized. Lorraine says, you're so organized. Great tips. Oh, thank you. I'm not as organized as I'd like to be, but thank you for that. That's one of the things that's on my list this year, is really getting myself more organized, like as far as structure of things and how I run my business, because I've always had, forms, things like that to make it easier for me, but it's always been sort of all over the place. And I'm trying to really consolidate it and create some streamline it a lot more this year. And also in my personal life as well too, because let's face it, when we're organized in one area and we're not organized in other areas, they tend to trickle into each other and create havoc if we don't. And there's already going to be havoc anyway. So if we can reduce that, that's my goal and my aim. So thank you for that, Lorraine. So back to what I was saying, the launch. So the great part about it is with the street team, everybody was amazing as far as sharing, liking, commenting, all of that. It just blew up. My visibility went through the roof. So that part of it was fantastic. And that helped with getting the word out about my book. But unfortunately, it didn't generate into sales, but I did see, it helped with my ranking and some other things, I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, I got some new followers of my author page, so as well as my personal page, so on Facebook, and not as many as I'd hoped on Instagram, but that's a work in progress. So those were some of the things that were sort of residual results that I got, which I was really happy about. That didn't necessarily result in sales, which was disappointing. But at the same time, I also know that there were quite a few differences with this book that I'm launching. So what I'm going to do now moving forward is to just take the lessons that I learned from this launch, what didn't work and what did work, and translate that into what I'm going to do for sort of post launch. Now, thanks to my book guide or my launch guide, I actually have some steps and things that I know that I need to take, because let's face it, when we have a bad launch, it can be discouraging and kind of make us feel like, oh, it's not worth it. Nobody wants to read my books and this is horrible. Why am I wasting my time? But I've learned over the years that, rather than focus on, what's didn't work, is to say, okay, this didn't work. What strategies and what steps can I take in order to either improve what I've got in place or, change some things around. I watched a really great webinar recently that's, identified, if your book isn't selling, here are 5 things that might be the cause of it and how you can take action to change that. So I incorporated that into my post-launch. So I'm excited to work on some of those things. And some of those things are, I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but one primary thing is my book description. So haven't changed my book description too much. I've changed a little bit at the bottom to sort of be a little bit clearer about who the book is for, as well as to mention that it's the first book in a series. But I haven't really played with that, so that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna tackle. The other things that I did play with were the keywords and the categories, and that did help with rank a little bit. But I'm going to play with those a little bit more, and sort of each month sort of make some changes and see what the results were as far as sales, ranks in the categories, and go from that, because I kept a log when I ran it through ChatGPT of various categories and various keywords that I can play and mix with. So I'm going to work on that. Is going to be the first thing I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do that's so important post-launch is, once I get those strategies in place to, figure out what are the things I need to change and test, I'm also going to start working on book 2, which I actually have already started. I think I've got maybe 10,000 words started. And at the end of this month, I'm supposed to be at nearly 60,000 words. So I was supposed to start writing last month. So I'm a little bit behind. I've been working on the outline a lot, but I haven't really put a lot of words on the page. I've written the first scene and a few other scenes that were sort of percolating in my head, and I just wanted to get them down. But I am seriously behind, because I really want to get that book out by the end of the year. So I am going to, and I've already booked my editors, so my aim now is to get ready and focus on finish writing book 2 and hit 59,000 and something. I have an exact amount based on the time frame, all that really helps me to stay focused. So that is going to be my next step, as well as focusing on the outline for book 3. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be focusing on after the launch, to make sure that I'm moving forward, because I think that's really important, especially when you have a not so happy or successful launch, is to not get stuck and bogged down with the disappointment. Is just to say, okay, let's focus on what I can change, and let's focus on the next book. Because that is really important if you want to build a career, which is what I really want to do. So that is those are the steps that I'm taking to make sure that I'm continuing to move forward. So that is all that I have for today. If you have any questions, either about book events or book launches, please post them in the comments and I will be happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I plan to do these every 2 weeks. So if you have any content you'd like me to cover or anything about me you'd like to know, please leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Have a fantastic Friday and I will see you next time.